Come, let us prepare. Make some good profits today. Thank you for tuning in. And market lifters, very big clues here. Let's talk about that today's video. I hope you had a good day. It was a beautiful final 10 minutes, isn't it? As I talked about it. Let's analyze that as well, because the intraday algorithms extremely important, right? Final 10 minutes, just take a look. It had a 300x here, but it went to about 1150, so it could have been more. Well, so be it, isn't it? Once again, I talked about precision algorithm. You see it show up. I charted the green to guide your runners. You have to protect it and let the runners be the one doing the work. You always have to remember that. Your runners have to be the one doing the work. All right? You have to remember that. And that's why I was desperately trying to protect it by 100%. I didn't get close too many, so I had to reload a little. Little misclick here. I would have left at least one just for vanity's sake. But yeah, it was a misclick. So precision algorithms, right? I always tell you, look out for the precision algorithms. In this case, we were lucky with the larger red candle. So larger red candles gives you more room for the precision algorithms, right? That's the pro tip here. But you also have to be careful, because there was context here today as well, especially with the magenta. Absolutely beautiful. So let's take a look now, the intraday algorithms, so it makes more sense to you. Let's see. As early as, what's this, 9:58 right here. Right, so you have to be understanding by 9:58 we already identified this magenta here. So 9:58, do you know how early was that? That was here, right here, 9:58 a.m. And that's the beauty once you're able to identify the algorithms, isn't it? You see that there was already liquidity being built, and it started rebuilding more of the liquidity there before it started pushing down in the magenta. Penny perfect. Right there. You can't unsee this. Yes. And so all you had to do was to be more patient, allow liquidity to build, and if you were able to identify this magenta, you would be able to be patient and allow the liquidity to build, because you know that it's penny perfect. You can allow time to be your ally instead of being liquidity here. Now, it's also at the same time where you also realize that magenta was trying to cap the top range here. So I also gave you a comment that if you wanted to go long here, you have to wait for magenta to break and turn into some sort of support. Yeah, I talked about that a little later. Let's see. Here, right here. So when you can understand this, you will be waiting out for magenta, right? This was at about 10:30, thereabout 10:30 here, where I told you magenta is capping the top range here, so you have to be careful, right? Quite straightforward there. Now, it took a longer time than usual, but that's absolutely fine. This was at 11:59. 11:59 was about here. This was 11:59 a.m. And I mentioned how magenta may still be in control and taking longer than usual. So you notice from a simple structure here, trying to grab this liquidity, the bears took a longer time. But you had magenta to help you understand why. So step 1, step 2. You realize it's always something that you're gaining clues from the market and trying to analyze. But it's much easier once you're able to have the magenta, in this case, the magenta algorithms to guide you with this. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that the seller has appeared, right? It has appeared continuously. And so this helps you with that selling continuation, because you realize that the magenta was starting to rebuild liquidity again. The best thing was that the green seller, this large seller that appeared actually at the start of the day, right? I talked about this large seller here, actually appeared in the final 10 to give you that beautiful trade. Well, all right, we'll take it. Now, I should have improved my final 10 because I was a little bit casual with that, because I could have waited nearing to 49 because you saw how beautiful that pink algorithm was as a resistance right now. Well, I took it a little bit early, about here, which was about 190. I think it went down to 135 or something, right about here. So just slightly early, probably a candle or two early. I could have waited, just got a little bit more finesse if I wanted to. And especially after the large red candle, you see it's so much easier to chart the green algorithm, the precision algorithm right there. So there it is. It's quite straightforward day. All because you understood how to be identifying the algorithms and not overtrading. So equally here, right, as we were building liquidity with that pink algorithm here, you notice that we had, it could have went long here too, no problem, because you notice that pink. But once we stopped having that orange continuation and capped at that magenta, you knew when to take profit as well. And this was exactly the reason why. Because of magenta, I told you had to wait for a little bit closer for the cups to close and for pink to show that it's more in control and not magenta. So in this case, it was quite straightforward seeing magenta in control. Quite easy. Quite an easy day. Where do we go from here? Nothing new. You understood where we at, right? Right at the morning, we had that big bounce of that bottom wick of that green candle. And that's where you see that morning buying structure that started forming as well before pink started rebuilding liquidity with magenta tapering the range. So this was no surprise, isn't it? I talked about that retracement here with the green. Now the only problem you noticed was that there was no buying continuation and we started tapering. I remember I mentioned yesterday, if this wants to dump, it will taper in the blue. Do you see that blue algorithm starting to build that liquidity here? And we grabbed that liquidity early. I talked about that blue algorithm you have to be worried about, and we grabbed it right here. Right, you remember that? It was all in yesterday's stream, so please do check it out. And you also noticed how we turn it into some sort of resistance here. So the question is, do we continue to have selling continuation structure here? As we near the moving averages, 5-day will start trending up slightly. This is the blue algorithm I was talking about that I want you to worry about here. Because if we do grab the liquidity, this will be quite beautiful. So just pay attention. This is a very important report at 8:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, I think. It's a revision from an earlier report, so that may be quite important. Just pay close attention to that 8:30 pre-market. So you want to see all these key liquidity here. Now, if it is a disastrous report, don't forget we have one more layer of liquidity right here. Now, do we get there tomorrow? I don't know. Level by level, algorithm by algorithm. That's what you need to be worried about, right? If you can be predicting 10 points or 100 points on a SPX, you shouldn't be watching a YouTube video. So nobody in the world can do that unless you're doing insider trading. Even if you're insider trading the S&P 500, you must be someone really powerful. But anyway, just be more careful, right? Just note this. You don't need the 100 points in order to be making good money anyway. As I've shown you, all you've got to do, half a point, 1 point, right? Even this simple precision algorithm here This was probably a 8x trade here. All because you understood how to be using the algorithms. Right, so don't worry about this. Level by level, algorithm by algorithm. If the market is kind, we will close cups and have the have the ability to identify a clearer structure if the market wants to head down. But if it doesn't happen, then watch out for the moving averages. And I want you to pay close attention to this orange selling. Right, this is this type of selling continuation you want to see. Be a little careful with this magenta, because if the market bounces off the moving averages here, this is very easy liquidity to start grabbing. And you want to see if the green buying continuation continues to take control at this range. The market may take a longer time for the liquidity to start building, which is not a problem at all, right? If it wants to take a longer time, so be it. If it wants to, it can take till the end of the week. With the green algorithm here, you still see how beautiful that liquidity can be built by the green algorithm. So just pay close attention, especially if it's no longer selling in orange. Yeah, that's where you pay close attention. If the market wants to build more liquidity for the bulls in this inverse head and shoulder pattern here. So quite easy to be looking forward to the end of the week, as long as you are preparing, as long as you are planning, as long as you understand how to be looking out for the liquidity wedges, right? So, I mean, the market has shown itself for the week now. You know the very important levels to look out for. You know the key liquidity to be careful about, right? And from there, you know how to plan ahead. And if it doesn't happen, so be it. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of what we can do. You can actually plan and prepare for something to happen. And if it doesn't, so be it. Right? Look at it yourself, the magenta. Instead of staring at this chart and wasting time throughout the entire day, you knew magenta was there. I took a trade here on the breakout. This was good enough. Right? And I took a trade here on another breakout, and this was good enough. That's all you got to care about. And do not participate in this liquidity building if you can help it. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, members, to be please sharing your trades. And there are resources. If this is the first time you're watching, there are resources in the links below. Please do check them out. And don't forget to share your trades, members. I read and review your trades every single day. So when the time comes, I know how to help you because I know you as a trader. Right. Thank you. Have a good night ahead. I'll see you.